Hey YouTube, TB back with you again, and I'm sure some of you have seen my video on snowshoeing in Colorado, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that hike. It's one of my favorites. I've done it 5 times, but I'd like to kind of give you the basics of what goes into it, and if you stick with me, I'll cover that for you. Well, like I said, the Engleman Trail in Colorado, Breckenridge, is one of my favorites. I had never snowshoed before, except when I was like 14 years old with my dad. And I was going to go to Colorado, and I called my friend that lived in Denver, who used to live here around the corner. And I said, hey, you want to come hang out, in Breckenridge, with me for a week? I'm going skiing. She said, sure. And she said, but one deal. I said, what's that? She said, middle of the week, we're going snowshoeing. I said, okay, I'll try. So I went and I skied for a few days, and she didn't ski, so she just hung out in the condo and chilled out. But on Wednesday, we went up to the Nordic Lodge and bought our peak, what they call peak passes, to get on the upper trails, and then we drove up to the base of the trails and we went out and we snowshoed all afternoon and actually got pretty close to the hut. But after that we came back down, we called it a day. I skied for a few more days. She drove back to Denver and I came home. The next year I was like, you know what, I want to do this trail and I want to go up to the hut all the way. So I bought my own snowshoes, and believe me, when I went to REI and picked up my snowshoes, the lady looked at me like I was insane. I live in Houston. And she's like, snowshoes? And I'm like, yeah. So anyway, what you do when you're in Breckenridge is they have a free bus service that goes everywhere in town, and what you do is you get on the bus that takes you up to Ski Hill Road. And that takes you to the Nordic Center. Just tell them, I want to go to the Nordic Center. So you go to the Nordic Center, you go inside, you buy your Peaks Pass, which is just a little pass that you hang on your zipper. And that means, you paid your fee and you're good to go. There's nobody up there checking passes. But, it's good to do to support the Nordic Center and to keep the snowshoeing alive in Breckenridge. So that's a good thing. So anyway, the bus will then come back again, and you get out by the bus stop and you get on the bus and you go up to the Peaks Lodge, which is the last place the bus stops, and it turns into the front of the lodge to do a U-turn and go back down to the city. But after that point, you get off the bus, you walk a little more than a quarter, between a quarter and a half mile up to the trailhead. And then you, take your pack off, and you take your snowshoe bag and you get your snowshoes put on and everything over your boots, gaiters if you want to use them. And then you put your backpack on and you roll your snowshoe bag up and of course strap it to the bottom of your pack. At that point you take off on the trail. One of the mistakes I made one year was I was so excited to be back up there, I took off like a rocket. I got about 50, maybe 50 feet, 60 feet, and I was leaning over my poles going, I could not breathe. I thought I was going to die. But anyway, I learned after that trip that when you start out, just go one step, one step, one step, one step, and start slow. Because one thing about the Engleman Trail is it's up and it's down, and it's up and it's down, and then all of a sudden it's up and it's up and it's up and it's up. So anyway, I got about a quarter of a mile in, and there's somebody built a little log cabin off to the side. Pretty cool, nice little shelter if you need it. You could build a fire inside if you had to. But I just kept on trucking. but just kind of kept my immediate pace of just cruising, and not trying to go too fast, because being from sea level, when I'm up at 12, almost 13,000 feet, I can't breathe. So I have to really pace myself to get up there. It's a beautiful snowshoe trip, and you go up, and sometimes you'll pass animal trails where you can see the tracks, and there are moose out there, so you have to be careful about that. But other than that, it's mainly rabbits and stuff like that running all over the place. But you don't see a lot of animals when you're up there during the wintertime and you're hiking up to the Hallelujah Hut. But anyway, finally, after a lot of uphill, you get to the top. And it's a beautiful view. You're looking out over a bunch of 12, 13,000 foot peaks, all covered with snow, and all down into the valleys. And it's a gorgeous view. Then you go down. So you go down this one hill, which is probably, I don't know, maybe 50 yards that you go down. And then it levels out into a valley. That valley then leads you all the way down to Hallelujah Hut. Hallelujah Hut was built by the ski folks there at the Nordic Lodge many, many years ago. They have several of them. They have one that even has a hot tub in it. But they've placed these strategically throughout the area for people that snowshoe and cross-country ski. And they're free to use. They don't want you to overnight in them, but you can go up there. They've got picnic tables outside on the front patio. They've got a gas-fired heater inside, so you can heat yourself up if you're really cold and you need to heat up. I've never turned the heater on, but it's a pretty good sized thing. They've got board games, card games, couches, tables, chairs, everything inside of Hallelujah Hut to really make you comfortable when you get there and want to sit down and maybe have coffee or eat your lunch or whatever you want to do. It's a really, really neat thing, and every year I've gone back over, probably 7 years now. Every time I go back, there's new stuff in there. They add more board games. There's little first aid supplies in there and things like that. But generally I check out the inside of the hut, and then I go out on the front patio in the sun and get my jacket off and all that, and have a cold beer and eat my lunch. After I'm done, then I just take my time hiking out. Hiking out is a lot easier than hiking in because the majority of it is downhill. So you're not going up, a little up, down, up, down, up, down. You're just pretty much going down, a little ridge, down, little ridge, and it's absolutely beautiful out there. It is a really, really a fun trip. And then when you get back, you have to pack up your gear at the trailhead. Then you have to walk back down to the Peaks Lodge, and then you wait for the bus. And when the bus comes, you get on the bus and back to town you go, and drop your gear off at your condo or wherever you're staying, and get into your regular street clothes and stuff, and maybe change your boots, and hit the road and go find you something good to eat. But Engleman Trail is a fantastic adventure to do. It's not super difficult. It's the altitude can get to you, but the trip itself is just incredible with the views and the beauty. I remember on one video I was out there and I said, people always ask me why I go snowshoeing by myself, and I just did a panoramic with my camera, and I said, not a soul out here. That's why. Because it's pretty rare that you see anybody on the trail. Sometimes you might, but in general, you don't. Of all the trips I've been up to Hallelujah Hut, there's been 2 other people there one time, and we all sit down and ate lunch together. They were from London, and they had flown over just to snowshoe the Engleman Trail. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much my story about the trail in Breckenridge, Colorado. It's fun. It's great. It's the scenery is just incredible. But if you get a chance, get up there to Breckenridge and do the Engleman Trail. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for joining me. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys.